All right, here's some big news coming in. Eknath Shinde's fresh attack at Shiv Sena. This is Eknath Shinde, who's now coming out with a new bob. Shinde says, whip issued for 5 p.m. meet is illegal. This is exactly what Eknath Shinde has said, as he deems the whip issued by the Shiv Sena as illegal. This could possibly mean, what he possibly could mean, that he has the numbers and therefore the whip has no standing at this point, because this is a breakaway faction with at least 35 MLAs, the dissidents who are with him at this point. Clearly, with Uddhav Thackeray not having the numbers, is he in a position to issue a whip? Eknath Shinde responding to the whip issued for the 5 p.m. meeting, calling it as illegal. Remember, the Shiv Sena has issued a whip sternly warning all MLAs against disqualification if they don't appear at the residence of Uddhav Thackeray at 5 p.m. this evening. This is a direction given to those MLAs of the Shiv Sena to be present in numbers at Uddhav Thackeray's residence at 5 p.m. this evening. If not, face disqualification. To which Eknath Shinde, the man leading the rebellion, has said the whip issued against MLAs is illegal. Paulami joining us live for more on that. Paulami, with what sentiment and keeping what in mind is Eknath Shinde calling this whip issued by the Shiv Sena, asking for all the MLAs to be present at 5 p.m. today as illegal?
That remains to be seen, but this is of course Eknath Shinde, who's being extremely defiant in the face of the whip which was issued by the party whip Sunil Prabhu just a short while ago, asking all MLAs of the Shiv Sena to be present at the CM residence Varsha in Mumbai at 5 p.m. today for a very crucial meeting in the wake of the instability and the sort of rebellion that the government is facing, and as a result of which it in fact stated that if the orders of the whip were not followed and people chose to be absent at that meeting, then strict action would be taken, because it would be deemed that they do not want to remain members of the party. Now, what Eknath Shinde has just tweeted and said is that he's appointed his own whip. He's appointed Bharat Gogavle as the whip of the Shiv Sena. So he says that this is the whip of the party. He is the whip of the party. He is, of course, one of the members of the Legislative Assembly from the Shiv Sena, who is inside the Radisson Blu Hotel in Guwahati with him. He has appointed Bharat Gogavle as the chief whip and said that as a result of which the order issued by the whip Sunil Prabhu for a meeting, calling for a meeting of all party MLAs at 5 p.m. at the same residence in Mumbai, is completely invalid. So that is his argument. So clearly this is a defiant Eknath Shinde. So he's of course in a way that he's actually appointing the whip of the Shiv Sena. He's clearly saying that I'm forming a party. This is the real Shiv Sena. It remains to be seen if indeed he has the numbers as far as it is considered, in order for him to successfully break away from the Shiv Sena and not attract the anti-defection law. That remains to be seen. Does he have the numbers? Of course, in that conversation with our colleague Preeti, he said, I have 46 MLAs with me. How many of those are from the Shiv Sena and how many are others? That remains to be seen. But this is him basically in a complete rebellious tone saying, I have a chief whip, Bharat Gogavle is the chief whip and not Sunil Prabhu.
How are they two chief whips at this point? Paulami, how does the Uddhav Thackeray government explain that?
Well, this is a defiant tactic by by Eknath Shinde. He is obviously, he can't go around appointing his own whip. All of this comes under the part of a procedure. If indeed he is to form successfully the real Shiv Sena, or the actual Shiv Sena, the breakaway faction of the Shiv Sena, which has and can in fact carry forward the Shiv Sena label and name, then he has to have the number of MLAs and he has to successfully present that number to, of course, the governor as well, to the speaker, and then, of course, he can be, of course, that sort of proposition can be looked into by the constitutional head. But at this point of time, what he's basically doing is, because obviously this whip was issued from Mumbai and it said that everyone has to be present in Mumbai at 5 p.m. at Varsha, the chief minister's residence, it was being speculated what will Eknath Shinde do, because he's sitting here with a lot of those legislators here in Guwahati Guwahati. He's obviously not going to make it to Mumbai. So is he going to face action? Is he going to just watch as it happens? He's come out in a defiant tone and he said, this is the chief whip. Sunil Prabhu is in the chief whip. So it is becoming very
he says that because he has those numbers. He says that he has 46 MLAs with him. He only needs 37 to literally not attract the anti-defection law, and almost if he has 2/3 of the members with him, then it could be recognized as a whole separate party altogether within the assembly. So a defiant Eknath Shinde saying, I refuse to accept what the chief whip has issued, a direction calling that illegal, saying he has his own chief whip who's housed with him at that Guwahati resort. This political turmoil in Maharashtra only getting a lot more interesting and heated by the minute.